Hey, how's it going? James here for Paint Games and Cardboard, and welcome to another deck tech here on the channel. And today we're going to review Braids, or Is a Nightmare. Now, this is a somewhat failed attempt at a CEDH deck. Mono Black kind of struggles pretty hard in CEDH, and I feel like a lot of people kind of gave me feedback to use Crick as the commander. And my piece of advice is follow that. Crick is way faster, much more explosive than Braids. Braids is much more grindy. But I would say this is probably a high level deck, though. Definitely has a lot of the CDH staples in here, but because it is not fast, it's not really a CDH deck. I tried. But anyways, let's get into the deck.
Alright, so this will be my first CEDH deck tech. So this is Braids Arisen Nightmare. And so a lot of people say that they've never actually seen a CEDH Braids. And, well, this is my attempt at one. So if you've never played Braids, at the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, or planeswalker. If you do, each opponent may sacrifice a permanent that shares a card type with it. For each opponent who does not, you will draw a card and they lose 2 life. So this whole deck revolves around her ability and card advantage. Now, being mono black, a lot of people play Crick, and I guess Crick is a turbo deck. I'm still new to CEDH, actually learning quite a bit about it. But I've found playing against other Crick players and kind of seeing how the deck works, because usually Crick is not a low-powered deck by any means. They just kind of run out of cards very quickly, and so, it runs into the whole black is really, really susceptible to counterspells, and Crick, I feel like, is a little bit more susceptible than Braids. Now, Braids is obviously a lot slower and a lot grindier, but I don't know. I'm liking this deck so far. I have yet to win a CEDH game with it, but yeah, we'll just keep trying. And this deck, I did not separate. In my other deck techs, I separate all the cards by type, but in this one, we're just going to go through the deck as it is. So starting with a Soul Ring, pretty self-explanatory. Mox Opal, because, fast mana is the thing. So this is the first card that I want to talk about, Curse Totem. So this is a stacks deck. Mono Black, I feel like, is kind of a stacks-heavy archetype in CDH because, well, you want to control what other people are doing at all given times, right? So this shuts down activated abilities of creatures can't be activated. So this deck has literally no activated abilities for creatures, but this shuts down stuff like Sisay, Kinnan, a lot of other Thrasios. So this is a very, very key card, and one of the things that's going to lock down your opponent so that way you can keep doing your thing. We got a Toxic Deluge, because board wipes are great. Bloodchief Ascension, so this is one of my win cons. Obviously, I have the Bloodchief Ascension Mindcrank combo in here. But usually I try, this is like one of the things that I'm happy to see in my opening hand, get it out on the field, and if I can combine this with like an Orcish Bowmasters, it's a quick way for me to go ahead and start gaining value. And, it gives me a win con on the board, and sometimes it will shut down other people's ways of winning. Like, as an example, I got this out today and shut down 2 LED combo decks because they weren't able to discard their hand and do the thing because they would pretty much kill themselves in the process. So really good. Now, the One Ring, I added this. I didn't have it in here initially, and through playtesting today, I ended up adding it in. I found that while Braids trigger is great, you're not always going to have a generator on the board. So the One Ring is just kind of consistent card advantage, and if anything, a way to stop somebody from swinging in my face and killing me. Chain of Smog, so this is one of my combo wins. I'll put this off to the side because I have a few combos in here with that, but Chain of Smog. Now, I run all of the free kill spells in here, so Deadly Rollick being the first one. And they're all great, but yeah, life is a resource in this deck, so I use it quite a lot. So Deadly Rollick is one. Torment of Hailfire, this is one of my win cons. Now, it is a bit slow for CEDH because I do not generate infinite mana through this deck. I probably should add like a Grim Monolith rings combo in here. That might be a good idea, but I would have to figure out what to cut for it. We got black. So Sedgemoor Witch, so this is a combo with the Chain of Smog. So for her, whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/1 black, green, and white, or green and black pest token. So if I can get these both on the field, I can target myself, discard my whole hand infinitely, make infinite pests, which will allow me to kill the board, right? So one of my combos here. I've yet to get it out, but Sedgemoor Witch is also great because it generates tokens for Braids to kill. Now, Contamination, this is one of my key stacks pieces, so if you've never faced this card, during your upkeep you must sacrifice a creature or sacrifice Contamination, but whenever I land as tapped for mana, it produces black instead of its normal colors. So if I can get this on the field, I can just kill everybody's ability to do anything if they are not a black deck. So really good. It's basically my version of a Blood Moon. We've got Black Market Connections. It's just good value engine. Ancient Tomb, Dothy Voidwalker. You know, again, this is a stacks deck, so shutting down people's hands. Now, I have Crick in the deck. Main reason, again, life is a resource. And granted, he might be slightly better at making this deck speed up. I am kind of thinking about whether or not I want to swap him with Braids. But I feel like, again, it just will open this deck up a lot more to being countered. And then same thing, he's actually pretty susceptible to stuff like Lightning Bolt, so any quick decks will kill him. We got Aetherflux Reservoir because I have the combo in here. Torpor Orb because I think I only have one ETB trigger in the entire deck, which is Orcish Bowmasters. We'll go ahead and get those out right now. Yeah, Orcish Bowmasters. And so shutting down other people's ETBs, I feel like it is a key thing. You know, Atalis and things like that. There's a lot of decks that revolve strictly around their commander doing certain things, and so I want to shut them down and slow them down to my pace. We got the Mind Crank, like I said. Bottomless Pit, I love this card. During each player's upkeep, they discard a card at random. Today I actually had 3 players hellbent for a majority of the game until somebody finally cast a Wheel of Fortune. Love this card. I think it's great. I feel like a lot of people underestimate discard, especially when it's a random card. So it's not like I get to pick and choose some garbage card. It's like it could be a win con. Now, it does swing both ways, right? So sometimes, yeah, like today, I discard a Bolus of Citadel, but it's a great card. Thought Vessel, because I run all the rocks that I can in this deck. Reanimate, because we're a very discard-heavy archetype, but also it can be a win con, like bringing somebody's Dockside back so that we can get the ETB if we don't have a Torpor Orb, as an example. Shieldred, she's a win con. We got the Bolus of Citadel combo in here. Blood Pet for some quick mana. We got a Demonic Tutor. This is my real one. Love this card, you know, doing tutor stuff. Now, Arterial Flow, this might be one that I could swap out with, you know, I mentioned a few cards that I could possibly swap in here. But this card's really cool. Each opponent discards 2 cards. So, you know, when we're doing a really discard-heavy archetype and people are getting low on hands, like say they're not getting into their draws or things like that, being able to just kill their hand completely can like slow the game down to a point where we can win the game. Phyrexian Altar, now this is a card I might actually remove. I've yet to use it in this deck. I typically end up discarding it or getting rid of it because I don't have any infinite loops with it. So this might be one that I swap with the Grim Monolith, and then I can add the Rings of Bright Hearth in here, so somewhere. Gives me 2 more artifacts as well. Felwar Stone is a great card, you know, Lotus Petal. Opposition Agent, gotta have the Opposition Agent. Gemstone Caverns. We've got Dark Ritual and Cull the Weak in here. So these are my 2 rituals, because generally I'm going to have a lot of tokens to sack with this, and then Dark Ritual is great at getting, if I have to get Braids out early, or a majority of this deck is 3 mana, so there's a lot of stuff I can get out with it. Snuff Out. Couple swamps. We got Liliana the Veil. This is another one that I might end up cutting. I love her, but I have yet to actually get her out, and I don't know how well she will actually fare in CEDH. Tiny Bones, great card. If anything, if people are discarding down to hand size, you know, get to draw free cards. Dreadhorde Invasion, fantastic with Braids and fantastic with stuff like Contamination. We got a Bloodghast, another sack engine for Braids. Soul Shatter, I love this card. Now, granted, it is not a free one like the other ones, but each opponent sacrificing the highest planeswalker or creature that they have. Generally speaking, in CEDH, you know, the commander is going to be probably the most expensive creature, unless it's like a very heavy creature archetype. But I can do this like in response to kill like their commander before anybody does anything. So, love this card. Flare of Malice, very similar to Soul Shatter, except I can cast it for free. Professor Onyx, this is a win con with the Chain of Smog, so we'll go ahead and put that in. We got Vamp Tutor, Mana Crypt. Some of these are self-explanatory, so Takanuma, really love that card. Phyrexian Tower, because I have a lot of stuff to sacrifice for it. Bloody Duty. Sorry, I'm getting some of the more uninteresting cards out of the way. We got an Urborg and a Reliquary Tower. Some more lands. Alright. We've got a Waste Knots. So, being as this is a discard-heavy deck, if I can get this out in the field, now again, I've only played a handful of games with the deck as it is, so I've yet to find this card and put it on the battlefield. But you know, whenever they discard a non-creature, non-land card, drawing a card, you know, CDH is all about that sort of stuff, so I feel like this is another draw engine. Mono Black doesn't have stuff like Rhystic Study, you know, so I'm trying to kind of supplement that fact with other cards. We got a Turgid because, you know, people are going to be discarding a lot of cards against me. Bitter Blossom, this is just infinite draw, pretty much, with Braids. Karn the Great Creator, so this is one that I added today because I've realized how heavy on artifacts CDH is, and shutting down other people's rocks is a way to slow the game down, because I need the game to play at my speed, not at their speed. We got Jet Medallion. Again, I'm running like all the signets and rocks and things that are in my color, Arcane Signet, that I can actually fit in this deck. We got a Mox Diamond, that's my proxy one. A bunch of swamps, another swamp, Chrome Mox. So again, I'm just kind of skipping through all the uninteresting stuff. Imp's Mischief, this is pretty much a auto-include in any CEDH black deck. Changing the target, this is our version of a counterspell or redirect. But changing the target of spell with a single target, that's a really good ability to have. Damnation to board wipe. We got another Edict, Shieldred's Edict. I like this one just because it's an instant, and again, I can choose if I want to kill tokens or creatures. So I will usually use this in response, and it's a really early way to kill commanders, because a lot of decks like Urza or Kinnan, stuff like that, will try to get their commander out pretty quickly, and being able to be like, nope, take that commander back is a key thing to me. Now, Vendetta, I love this card. This is one I recently learned about. Destroy target non-black creature. It can't be regenerated. You lose life equal to that creature's toughness. Now, non-black, kind of a little bit of a hiccup there, but 1 mana instant kill spell, absolutely great in CDH. We got an Ophiomancer to make some snakes for us to sacrifice. Feed the Swarm, the only way I can get rid of enchantment, so, you know, I had to run it. Cryptghast to double my mana. Gary, Grey Merchant, so this is a win con in the deck. If I can get a sack loop going, which I guess the Phyrexian Altar is my only loop in here. Yeah, the Phyrexian Altar is my only sack outlet. I just realized that, huh? So maybe I need to add another, like maybe some like a Viscera Seer or something, but we'll figure that out. Dismember, another kill spell. Love this kill spell. Ensnaring Bridge. Now, I know in CEDH not a lot of people kill through swinging and combat, but so this might be actually one card that I take out. I had it in here for like Finale of Devastation type decks where they try to swing out with a Finale, but being able to be like, nope, you can't swing unless their power toughness 7 or less is really good, and that actually completely shuts off, you know, Finale of Devastation, which is great. We got Jadar to make tokens, same with Lord Skitter. And then today I found out how good Tiny Bones the Pickpocket is in this deck, because the ability to hit people and take their Lotus Petals and cast them for myself is great, as long as an opponent doesn't have a Graph Digger's Cage like they did today. But actually Tiny Bones is really cool, and then it also gives me a way to like do other funky stuff, like cast other people's Docksides if they're dead, etc., etc., etc. Necrogen Miss, I like this card. This doubles up with the Bottomless Pit, and then players will discard another card at the beginning of their upkeep, so discarding 2 is kind of a big deal. We got Oppression. So I've yet to get this card to stick, but whenever a player casts a spell, that player discards a card. So again, I'm going for card advantage in this deck. So if I can stop other people from cycling through their deck as fast as humanly possible, always a good thing, right? And it allows me to start setting up to try to find a win con. We got an Altar of the Brood, so this also teams up with that Sedgemoor Witch combo earlier, where I can completely mill out opponents because I can just make infinite pests, and with this on the board, I will mill everybody out, which is really good. Exsanguinate, so this is another X spell to kill everybody. Sensei's Top, because I had to have it for the Aetherflux combo. We got an Animate Dead to bring some creatures back. Dark Deal, I love this card. Each player, this is my version of a wheel, each player discards all cards in his or her hand, then draws that many -1. So this is great with Shield Druid, the Orcish Bowmasters, various other things that people end up doing. And last but not least, Planar Void. So I like this card because it shuts down a lot of combo decks, it shuts down a lot of recursion loops, things like that. But whenever a card is put into a graveyard, remove that card from the game. So it's going to hit the graveyard and then exile it immediately for 1 cost. That's a great card. And me, I do have the Reanimate and Animate Dead in here, but those are strictly for taking other creatures. And it doesn't get rid of the graveyards, so I will still have targets to pick out, assuming that, Planar Void wasn't a turn 1 play. Which, again, I've only played a handful of games with the deck in its current iteration. In a high-powered setting, this rarely won. Black is quite slow. But in a CDH, I'm so far I'm 0-5, but it's a pretty interesting deck. I like it. I'm hoping that I can find some more combos or more Staxy pieces to add to the deck. Again, there's a few things on the cutting block, like the arterial spray. I forget the name of the card right now. Ensnaring Bridge. So I do have I could actually just cut those out right now. Add Grim Monolith and add Rings of Brighthearth and have that combo in here. That would give me infinite mana for the Exsanguinate type combo. Which, granted, that might actually be a win con. The one thing I've noticed is I can control the board pretty well, but then I don't have a way to win the game or close it out. I'm typically relying on other people to try to whittle people down and then close it out that way, but that's not really how CEDH works. Usually it's everybody finds some infinite loop combo and wins the game. So, but yeah, that is my CEDH breakdown of Braids. Again, I post the link down in Moxfield down below, so that way you guys can go look at it for yourself. But yeah, let's move to the outro.
So I tried real hard on making this deck operate at a CEDH level. I played probably about 12 games and I came close twice to winning a game, and that's because I had the appropriate amount of removal in the deck. There's a lot of removal, a lot of free removal in this deck, but I would say arguably this is definitely a high-powered deck. That's probably the best you could do with it. It's not going to, again, I've never won a CEDH game with this deck. It's not explosive like all the other decks. It doesn't have the required responses to certain things. I tried real hard, but tried the best I can, and yeah. So if you build this deck, obviously it's very expensive. Obviously it takes a lot of work. But this is the best I could do. So hopefully somebody else could make a better CEDH version of this. But I figured I'd put it out there and get a video on the channel. But anyways, thank you guys for reviewing this deck with me. I'll see you guys in the next video here on Paint Games and Cardboard. Paint Games and Cardboard. There you go.